Welcome to Meet the Author, where you can join in on insightful conversations with best-selling and award-winning indie published authors. Your hosts today are Rob and Joan, who themselves are indie published authors, book publicists, and paranormal investigators with Tampa Bay Spirits, based in Tampa Bay, Florida. Thanks for dropping by. And now, on with the show.
Hello, everybody. Having a little trouble on Facebook right now. So one of the Facebook streams.
So we're going to go, okay, it's this one. It's Meet the Author Podcast. Okay, we're going to go off air for a minute and come back on.
No, looks like it may be there now.
All right.
Okay, hopefully it's there. We'll see. We'll kind of take this slowly here right at this point. They've had some issues with StreamYard lately. So
well, did that check just come up? Well,
yeah, it was red and it came back up blue. So it
when you
looks
clicked
like
on it, or
no, I didn't click on it.
Okay, all right.
Okay, so let's go ahead and get started for everybody that's out there on YouTube and LinkedIn and the other two Facebooks.
Okay.
Want to remind everybody about the Voice of Indie podcast. Immediately following this show, the author tonight is Carlisle Toms, who's going to be on there. Your host, Beam Weeks, and Stephen Gary G's. Tune in stay and watch at the end of the show tonight. And there's a short commercial that tells you exactly how to get over to watch that or to listen to that and participate in that podcast. Episode Rewind this Saturday is Magnolia Bluff 2022 Part 2. Brickfield and Berkey, James Callan, and Richard Schwint. And we just lost a couple more Facebooks. Okay, so
all right.
We'll just click those guys off. And so if you're watching on Facebook, we might want you to go over to YouTube or LinkedIn to watch because they're not staying on. So.
They're not going to hear that.
At any rate, if you have trouble on Facebook, do that. Okay. Sorry about the problem, but it is a StreamYard problem. Next Wednesday is Michael Scott Clifton. He writes several genres. He writes fantasy, paranormal, sci-fi, adventure, romance, all in the same books, I think. He's on next Wednesday, March 1st at 7 o'clock right here. And you can listen anytime to the podcast on indiebooksource.com. Tomorrow night, we want you to join us for episode 2 of the Haunted Campfire Tales. That's February 23rd, 7:30 p.m. Eastern Time in the U.S. You can watch live on Facebook, the Tampa Bay Spirits group page. Hopefully you can watch on Facebook. Meet the Author page, and also on YouTube, Meet the Author podcast channels. Watch later at tampabayspirits1.com.
Okay,
it looks like
Paul
everybody's
Hollis
back
says,
again.
hey, Rob and Joan made it. All right, there's been a problem with Facebook, and StreamYard just told us that.
Yeah, it looks like Paul's on LinkedIn. Paul's on YouTube today.
Yeah, and Zardoz is on LinkedIn, YouTube also. LinkedIn and YouTube are working fine. Yeah. Facebook is not. He says, we know that since we started the program, we've had 3 messages from StreamYard saying it's either a problem with Facebook or something.
Yeah, it's like a bumpy road here
tonight. Right.
But hang on, we're going to get through
Chris Chrisman says, okay, now Facebook is working. Yeah, we can see that all 3 are working. So,
then every once in a while they go off and they come back on. So it's like,
yeah. We just want to say that if Facebook stops working, you can always hop in our YouTube channel.
Exactly.
It's working fine.
Yeah, and LinkedIn so far.
And LinkedIn, yeah. Chester Swanson
Chester.
Sr., good evening from Texas. Good
Welcome.
Morning.
From the great
George
state of Texas.
Dismuke says, okay, I'm here. Had trouble getting in. Yep.
Yeah, you may need to pop over to
our YouTube channel of Facebook.
Yeah, if you get bumped.
Yeah. Stardust said, now Facebook is working.
Yeah, we got all blue.
Chris Chrisman said Facebook is being glitchy. It's being very glitchy.
We have all green lights on there right now. And hello, Chris.
Hello, Rob and Joan. Hello. That was
I don't like that.
stressful.
No.
Let me just say, welcome. I usually say that right away. Tonight I didn't. Welcome to the show. I'm so glad whether you're watching us now tonight live or if you're listening or watching live another day. We're really glad that you're here and glad that you decided to join us in the audience.
Yeah. Sorry about all the trouble on Facebook, folks.
It's not us.
It's not us.
It's Facebook.
We got something in the mail today.
Yes. Last week, if you remember, Jim Carlson was on and he wrote his first book.
Was released Monday, I believe.
Slays the Dragon. He sent us a copy. It's really awesome. Ooh, let me see.
Where is it? There it is.
There's the dragon.
Anyway, it's a great little book.
He sent
nice
it
book.
after the broadcast. He said, and as you all know, we're having our first great-grandchild in June. I may have mentioned it once or 500 times. And he said he wanted to send it for the new baby. The new
everybody should get a copy.
Great-grandchild.
Slays the Dragon. Okay.
So Joe Conjal says, hi, Rob and Joan. I'm here.
Hi,
Joe. Christmas says dragons. Yeah, it's a really well done. George just
Hey, George, pass the grits. I'm hungry.
Dinner and a show, eating buttered grits. That's
at the restaurant we go to. I get cheese grits. They got a pile of cheese on the top. Oh, it's just delicious. It's
so
fantastic.
Healthy.
Oh, it's great for you. Yeah, keeps you happy. Keeps you smiling.
Not me.
Well, George and I do.
Joe Conjal. Did I say Joe Conjal's here?
Joe
Conjal said, hi, Rob and Joan. I'm here.
Hi, Joe.
Just making sure that you did. Well, that was really exciting, and I don't want to do that again.
No. So maybe we should sally forth.
We do have some news, though.
Yeah.
You mentioned, and I don't know if anybody heard it, that tomorrow night we're going to have another campfire show.
Haunted Campfire Tales.
With our team.
At 7:30.
At 7:30, and it will be on, unfortunately, Facebook.
2 Facebooks and a YouTube.
Three Facebooks and a YouTube. It'll be on Rob and Joan and on Meet the Author Podcast Facebook and the Tampa Bay Spirits Facebook, right?
No, just Tampa Bay Spirits, Meet the Author page, and YouTube, Meet the Author Podcast channel.
All right. So you can watch it there. But the really good news is we've talked with the station manager here, and it's going to be a regular podcast.
He's picking up the podcast for us.
So it'll be the last Thursday of every month. Tampa Bay Spirits will be putting on a podcast.
So we're going to add 1, 2, 3 more outlets. Yeah, 3 more radio station outlets. It'll be going out live, and then it'll also be on the podcast. So, yeah.
Chris Chrisman says that's cool.
We'll have a different theme for every show. This week, tomorrow night is about dreams.
Premonition dreams.
That predict the future. Yeah.
And we might also do a little tutorial on how to use flashlights to contact spirits. And I know we've talked about it before, but this time we'll be able to literally show you how it works. Probably not be able to show you a spirit talking to us unless somebody shows up at our house unexpectedly.
A guest appearance.
A guest appearance by a dead someone. Joe Conjal said that's awesome. It is awesome. We're only doing it once a month, though. We're not doing 2 podcasts a week. Meanwhile, we have a great guest tonight.
Yes.
Roslyn Reid.
She probably fell asleep backstage.
Yes, she did.
Waiting for this. We're chit-chatting away.
Yeah.
Okay. So
and freaking out.
Why don't we bring her in? Come on in, Roslyn Reid.
Hi. Yes.
Hello.
Welcome, Roslyn. Sorry about all the rough stuff.
Good evening, direct from Maine.
Yay. Joe Conjal said, please show us how to do shadow puppets with flashlights.
Oh, right.
I think we can do that. We can arrange
Joe,
that.
if you don't know how to do that by now.
We'll probably do something. That doesn't work too good.
I got one here.
My goodness.
Oh, she's got her flashlight.
It's not working there either.
No.
I think spirits would have a very difficult time using that particular flashlight.
She comes prepared, though.
That's true. Well,
Always.
that's
Always good to have a
amazing.
prop, right?
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. So, yeah.
This is
Can
gonna be
you
one of those
tell-
nights.
Yeah. And can you tell that through us that we're watching all of our channels disappear? And
The
we're
red
like,
light's going blink, 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 blink. Oh no!
Whoa.
What do we do? What do we do? Drop back 20 and punt.
Woo.
I feel really bad because I don't know as if Chester Swanson Sr. has ever listened in before, but he probably thinks, okay, these people are really
Crazy?
sad.
Perhaps he's right.
Yeah, sad show. Anyway,
So don't go away, Chester.
yeah,
Hang in there,
hang
Mike.
in there.
So
You're going to ask.
I was going to ask Roslyn, why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself?
Well, I started writing at 8 and I stopped writing at midnight.
Uh-huh.
That's so bad.
Ba-dum,
Oh
boom.
my gosh. Yeah. This is when we need our little sound effects button. Like that. Yeah.
Oh.
That's very good.
Thank you. I've been practicing it for years.
It
worked.
Why don't we try this again? Why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself?
Well, I really did start writing at 8,
Oh, okay.
but it was like, comics with stick figures and stuff. And then I started writing stories about horses and I would read them to my class. And then I took a hiatus for quite a long time, several decades while I was making a living.
Oh, yeah.
And then I picked it up again after I moved to Maine. I never imagined I could write an entire book. And one morning I woke up and this book was writing itself in my head.
Yes.
And I said, I was trying to get it to stop. This kept happening like every day, every morning. I'd wake up and more of this book would write itself. So it just came to me out of the ether, like the characters' names. I knew his name was Early. I knew he had a son named Tiki. I knew he had a friend named Hal. And then I started paying attention to the writing and I said, gee, this isn't bad. Maybe I should write it down. And that's what happened.
That's amazing.
Yeah. And now I
That's
have these
wonderful.
two books back here.
Okay.
That's really great.
Yeah. It was amazing to me because it's like the longest project writing I've ever undertaken. I've done articles for Llewellyn, and I'm sure you know them.
Yeah.
Yeah, I did articles for the almanac and the calendar, and but always short stuff. But I never thought I had a book in me, but apparently I have several.
Wow.
Chris Chrisman says thoughts in the ether is real.
Yes.
So,
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
out there, and you just have to snag it.
yeah.
So which one was your first book?
Oh, that was a scandal at Crystalline about a raku pottery artist who might be a murderer.
Oh. What is raku pottery?
It's a type of Japanese pottery where they do this.
Oh.
They do it in a pit. They dig a pit in the ground and they put the pot in the pit and they throw a bunch of stuff in there and set it on fire and seal up the pit. And then when the pot is finished cooking, they take it out and they dip it in water. And it is really beautiful. You should Google it. They've
Oh,
got
we
some
will. I will.
gorgeous colors, gorgeous designs.
So that's why the cover has the potter at a potter's
Pottery,
wheel.
yeah, right.
And the top of the cover is like orange and then it fades to black down at the
Yeah.
bottom. Just for those that are not watching this on video.
So who is your protagonist?
His name is James Early. He is a black detective who lives in Maine. And he has a teenage son. He's about 13. His name is Tiki, who helps him. And his best friend is Hal, who's the black police chief. So it's kind of the usual setup, I'm friends with the cops. They either hate the cops or they're friends with the cops.
Yeah, pretty much, right?
Yeah.
Beam Weeks says, and welcome, Beam,
Hi, Beam.
to the audience. We already told people to tune in for your show right after ours.
Yeah.
I love it when a book writes itself in my head. That's when I begin to outline the story, which actually goes along with Joe Congel's question. Did you plot out the stories or are you a pantser? So that's what Beams asked. When that happened, then did you do the outline and then fill it in, or no outline, just wing it?
No, I'm totally a pantser. Those characters do whatever they want. And in fact, I didn't even use the scenes that were writing themselves in my head. I didn't use them in the book.
Oh, that's interesting.
Yeah, they were chapters 1 through 3. And I was sending out queries and stuff, and nobody liked it. And then I got rid of the first 3 chapters, and that's when it was published.
Wow.
Wow.
So that's how it worked. But I saved them for later in case. Sorry?
Is that what everybody should do throughout their first 3 chapters so they can get published?
There you go.
Is that like
if you have to, you have to. I mean,
formula?
No. Sometimes it's a good idea to get rid of a lot of stuff,
That's true.
Yeah.
But that's just the way it worked for me. I don't know why. It didn't happen that way with the second book.
So did you use, though, the same characters and everything from what you were getting? Okay.
Yeah, I even saved the first 3 chapters in case I could use them later.
Yeah.
Because that's what writers do.
Yeah. Joe Congel said, how did you become interested in writing paranormal mysteries?
Well, they're paranormal in the sense that there are tarot readings in them. So they're called paranormal by my publisher. It's not like Ghost Chasers or anything, except the second one has to do with a ghost. But that is why my publisher called them paranormal, because of the tarot readings.
Okay. And paranormal is popular, so it was a good lean to it, right?
Good instincts.
Yeah.
Okay. Joyce Shelton, New York said, I just figured that out in one of the books I finished. Get rid of the first few characters.
Hi, Joy. Welcome.
Welcome, Joy. Joy's going to be on the show tomorrow night.
Yeah.
On the premonition, the dreams. It'll be fun. Anyway.
Sounds good.
Yeah. Joy says, hi. Hello. That's, go ahead. I'm sorry.
I was going to say, I think we should go ahead and take our first break.
Already?
Yeah, already. Yeah.
We spent the first 5 minutes trying to get everybody on Facebook.
We were going through the bumps in the road there.
That's my fault. Facebook hates me.
It was the gremlins at work. Yeah.
Yeah, don't feed them.
Right? Okay. Well, we're going to take our first break.
We'll be right back.
We'll be
Don't
back
go away.
in 3 minutes, folks. So
don't go away.
Don't go anywhere.
They thought the siren was dead. In the novel Siren Song by author George Dismukes, James Harmon shot her twice. Several people saw her dead body sinking slowly into the abyss. But now, in Siren Song 2, evidence suggests that she may still be alive.
She killed that boatload of people. It was her! And she's just getting started!
Angie, that's impossible.
The cold chill up my spine tells me it's not impossible. We've got to start all over again. And this time, do it right.
Siren Song 2. The story continues. Available on Amazon, Barnes & Noble, and many other bookseller websites. Get your copy today.
Mystery hovers in the Magnolia Bluff Public Library. It has nothing to do with the hundreds of suspense novels on its shelves. Caroline McCluskey is the librarian. She finds a crimson hat and a black and white poodle puppy. They belong to Esther Williams. Esther is missing. The police can't find her. Neither can the FBI. Esther's only hope is a ring of 3 women investigators who form the Round Table. The Round Table has already solved one mystery in town, but this time, a woman's life is at stake. The Doggone Diamond Dilemma is now available on Amazon.
It's a murder scene. Like many others, except the prime suspect is a beautiful woman from Detective Ray Schiller's past. Ray is determined to help her, but at what cost? Targeting him for his interference, the killer threatens all Ray holds dear. He's given terms and a deadline he can't possibly meet. Run, Ray, run. Watch the past come back with a vengeance in Targeted. Don't miss a second. Order now.
Welcome back.
We are back.
Lonnie.
Oh, I love those. They're great.
Yeah, they're all good books.
Commercials, good books. Yeah.
Hi,
Lonnie
Becca
Becca Jones says, it's probably Becca, says hello. And Joe
Hello.
Conjul says, speaking of joy, I just finished The Bloody Shoe Affair. Really good read. Review will be up tomorrow. That's cool.
And you can take that to the bank. Joe is very, very good at his reviews and
Getting them up.
getting
in a
them out
timely
there
fashion.
for people and reading. He reads like a
There's going to be a book giveaway,
Like a bookworm.
so you can read Roslyn's too.
yeah. There you go.
Yeah, that'd be good. So would you? So the first book is A Scandal at Crystalline, and you told us a little bit about that. Your second book is Spiricom.
The Spirit.
The Spiricom. Would you like to tell us a little bit about that?
Yeah, this is right up your alley.
Yeah, it is.
It's about Dr. Spencer Pye, whose bride was killed on their wedding day in a limo crash on a rainy Maine night, and he's very disconcerted and depressed and all, and he's in a wheelchair. He's actually, the character's in a wheelchair, and he's very depressed until he finds plans on the internet to build Thomas Edison's machine called the Spiricom, which supposedly contacts the deceased. So he builds it, and he contacts his wife, and what he hears, he wasn't expecting, so he has to call early in to straighten this mess out.
Okay, I get it now. Okay, so
That's cool.
yes.
That's a cool cover.
I'm
So
not gonna tell you what I think he discovers because I don't want to give away any spoilers, but that's a pretty good hook.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's good.
And
Would-
it's won 3 awards so far.
Good. Would you like to read part of Spiricom or part of A Scandal at Crystalline? Which?
Yeah, I have an excerpt here from the Spiricom.
Okay.
Great.
I'm going to try and distinguish between the characters. Obviously, I'm not going to sound like a 6'5" big guy.
No.
But we'll do what we can here.
We'll use our imagination.
He's across the hall. His office is across the hall from a woman who reads tarot cards, and her name's Amber.
Who is this, your detective?
Yes, this is Early.
Okay.
And Early is across the hall from Amber, who reads tarot cards. And sometimes he goes over there to chat. Sometimes he consults her on a case. Every little bit helps. So, okay, so he's in her office right now, and they're reading the tarot cards. Early pulled out 3 cards and turned them face up. The first one depicted an armored skeleton riding a horse and bore the word death. He looked up at Amber. Is this clear enough? Seems rather obvious, which is one reason why I'm skeptical about tarot readings. Too obvious, she said. It may look clear to someone who can't read tarot, but the death card really means death. However, since we're asking to contact a dead person, I think it's a sign we can take this reading literally. Who's the chick on the next card? The High Priestess. She guards secrets, Amber said. I don't like the sound of that. Is she going to give any up? That's not her purpose. The major arcana represent forces not under our control. She and death are part of that. He placed his big hand next to the 3rd card. What about this troll sitting on his money? The 4 of Pentacles. He's a miser. See how he holds onto those coins? You won't get anything from him. I read 4s as what you need. In this case, you would need a crowbar to pry out whatever you want from him. Good luck with that. She shook her strawberry blonde curls and gathered up the cards. Giving up? It's pretty clear Melanie doesn't wish to be contacted. Melanie's the dead bride. Shit, that was no help. Sorry, Early, I'm not an infallible oracle. He patted her well-manicured hand. I'm just frustrated. Me too, she pouted. I hate it when the cards come up empty. Would it work better if I directly asked the cards whether Melanie was murdered and who did it? Amber's big blue eyes flew open. You think she was murdered? Spencer does. Where did he get that idea? She died in an accident. Early decided to be discreet for now. Regardless of where he got it, he does have it. Can we ask? We can give it a try. She handed the deck back to him. Early shuffled like he was off to Buffalo. His laser focused on his question, a man on a mission. Those cards weren't going to get evading from him now. Oh, God. Those cards weren't going to evade him this time. Ta-da, he said, presenting them to Amber on his palm. She fanned the cards out again. Go for it. He poked through the deck and soon had 3 cards staring up at him. Amber contemplated them. This looks more forthcoming. Good. What do you see? Sword, 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 she cried, waving her hands and tinkling her jewelry. Someone is in emotional turmoil. No shit. What have I dealt here? The first card is the 4 of Swords, a woman crying in her bed. She's miserable, regretful, depressed. Something horrible has happened to her. But as I said, fours tell you what you need, and I call this card, give it a rest. She needs to step back and stop mourning. She looked up at Early. Could this apply to Spencer? But there's a woman on the card. The meaning is what counts. Except for court cards, and sometimes not even them, the minor arcana are gender fluid. Early shrugged. Then maybe it is him. Doesn't building an obscure electronic device to contact one's deceased wife sound over the top to you? He did that? Early's discretion vanished. Yeah. I'm intrigued, Amber said. There are many different ways of grieving. I've contacted the deceased plenty of times and seen all kinds of weird things, both in readings and in my clients. Me too, but Spencer's project seems pretty out there to me. Obviously not to him. Look at the second card, the Knight of Swords. As I've mentioned before, the court cards, kings, queens, knights, and pages, represent real people in my experience. The Knight of Swords depicts someone who likes to stir up trouble. Why would that card show up now? Who is this and where do they fit in? Could be the murderer, Early said, if there is one. Perhaps the cards are saying she really was murdered. Amber's face turned gloomy. And the last card? She picked up the card and examined it. The Page of Cups. See the fish peeking out of the cup he's holding? This is a naive person who's going to get a big surprise related to matters of the heart. Early's brow furrowed. Get a big surprise? He hasn't gotten one already? The card is placed in the future segment if you read them that way. Besides, we can't assume it refers to Spencer. What do you make of all this? The previous reading showed mostly forces out of our control, but this reading indicates the opposite. I'd say we need to identify who the people are and what roles they play. That might lead us to the truth about Melanie. Great Hitchens' ghost. I better write this down. He took out his notebook and scribbled some notes, then stood up and repocketed it. I think I've got all I need to get started. Thanks for being my go-to expert. She smirked. Always do what you're best at. I'll probably be thinking more about these readings. These off-the-wall combinations tend to nag at me. Don't let this case make you crazy. That's my job. He grabbed the remains of his coffee and walked out the door, deep in thought about what the cards had and had not revealed.
Interesting. That's really good.
Yeah.
Thank you.
A really good blend of the paranormal and mystery.
Yep.
Makes you want to buy the book, huh?
That's right.
There you go.
Is there? Oh, Paul Hollis says, I'm hooked.
Also.
Yeah.
Yay.
Because it also made it sound like, just from what they were saying with the tarot cards, is that there might be some romance too.
Yeah.
That somebody was going to be surprised, by.
Right.
Okay.
What could be more romantic than a man chasing his dead bride?
That is romantic. Then it's sad.
Very sad.
Chris Christmas says, I love a good tarot reading in a book.
Uh-huh. There's 3 of them.
3 tarot readings in this book alone?
Oh, in every book. There's 3 of them.
There's 3 readings.
Cool.
Uh-huh.
That's really interesting. So you must know something about tarot.
Oh, yeah. I have about 6 different decks.
Interesting. I have never been able to make heads nor tail of it.
Yeah, it's complicated. I started in the 70s, so I've been doing it a long time.
Yeah, it is complicated. The major arcana and the minor arcana, and I mean, I just got all confused. Chris Christman said, I use them in my books. Oh, really, Chris? I didn't know that. That's really awesome.
And I bet Orlando does.
Yeah.
Could be. Yeah.
Yeah, there's a lot of good material in the tarot. I mean, T.S. Eliot used it.
Yeah. But I still have never understood it. One of our daughters understands it better than I do, but still, it's just something I've never done, so I'm not comfortable with it. I don't. There's a lot to memorize, and at this stage in my life, memorizing things comes a little bit more difficult than it did 50 years ago.
Memorizing what?
What was I going to memorize? And why?
Well, why don't we tell everybody where she can be reached?
Okay. Chris Christman says we all use different tools.
Yeah,
that's true. I'm much more comfortable with like remote viewing and that kind of thing.
Yeah.
That comes easy to me. That must be the thing about tarot too. I bet some people just can easily do it. You're more in tune with it. Okay, let's tell you how to get in touch with Roslyn. You can go to All Author. Should I put all of that in or
no?
Okay.
Yeah.
RoslynReid.allauthor.com. That's RoslynReid.allauthor, obviously. So that's one place you can reach her. On Twitter, it's @_the_. Moonshadow, MOONSHADOW. On Instagram, it's Real Roslyn Reid. We all know how to spell real, and it's Roslyn Reid again.
The 3 R's.
I hope we do.
The 3 R's.
Yeah. And the Real Roslyn Reid, the 3 R's. Facebook, it's James Early Maine, JamesEarlyMaine, as in the state of Maine. And LinkedIn is Roslyn-Reid. Now let me, oops, sorry. No one else saw that but me. Okay.
I saw it.
You did.
Yeah.
Paul and Roz. Email is paulandroz@gmail.com, and that's PAUL.N.ROZ. All right, we have 2 comments here before we do the book giveaway. Chris Chrisman says, oh, I didn't see this.
No.
Joe Conjal said, I'm reading Chris's book now. Definitely tarot cards in the story. And then Chris Chrisman said, thanks, Joe. And then Tom Nally showed up with his empty chair.
3 chairs. That's great. 3 chairs.
Does that mean you're
Hi, Tom.
empty 3 times as much as you usually are? You're missing?
I was wanting to ask Joe, do you read a book in one hand and a book in the other at the same time? Because you read more than anybody I've ever known.
He does read a lot.
It's incredible.
Joe does read a lot.
Yeah.
Okay. Joe has a question. Roslyn, have you planned how many books you'll write for the series? Good question.
Yeah, there's going to be, as far as I know, there's going to be 4 and possibly 5.
Okay.
But I write very slowly, so they take a while.
Yeah, that's okay. Look at Game of Thrones. I think 7 years for each book, so that's really slow.
That sounds about right. I don't think I write that slowly.
All right. Why don't you get your typing fingers ready, guys? The book giveaway tonight. The first 3 people to email paul.n.roz@gmail.com will win an ebook copy of Spiricom.
That's cool.
That's something to look forward to.
It is.
And while they get going with that, why don't we go to our commercials?
All right. And then when we come back, we have some more comments waiting.
Yeah.
So don't go anywhere. We'll be right back.
Everybody stay tuned.
A word from our sponsors.
Right where you're at.
People who like to read want to get their hands on books by Becca Jones.
Becca Jones, the breakthrough author who tells it like it is. It takes courage to tell a story when it reveals dark secrets. Becca Jones delves deep into the hidden world of sexual abuse. She tells what happened and also tells how she survived.
Meant to Be is much more than just entertaining. Meant to Be gives you a point of reference, hope to cling to, and becomes a guide for survival if you have suffered the same thing. Meant to Be, Becca Jones, a must-have.
Meant to Be is available on Amazon, Barnes & Noble, and many other bookseller websites.
First, there was Siren Song. Then Siren Song 2. Now comes The Siren Hunter, a continuing saga about Angie Holland and her never-ending battle with the mythological denizens that are not even supposed to exist. Is The Siren Hunter a conclusion to the undersea horror? Only the sirens know for sure.
The Siren Hunter, now available on Amazon, Barnes & Noble, and many other bookseller websites. Or contact this podcast. The trilogy is complete.
Madison Jackson loved being a cop. A young girl is raped and murdered near Burnett Reservoir. Madison vows to get justice for the child. Madison travels to the heart of Mexican cartel country. She is kidnapped, tortured. Will Madison ever make it home? Justice by Kelly Marshall, only at Amazon.com.
And we're back.
We're back. And Kristen Lee Barger said, hey, cool, enjoying the tarot card focus as well. Longtime tarot card reader too.
Cool.
Good for you, Kristen. Go ahead and see if you can win a copy of her book, and then you can read all the tarot card readings. She also said stay tuned. So we said stay tuned. That was the last set of commercials, folks, until the end of the show. So
there you go.
Let me put up your email again one more time so people can see it. I know it's down here, but that's bigger print. So some of us that are visually handicapped,
Visually
I
challenged.
wasn't going to say, visually challenged may need a little bit bigger writing. I know that's me. Yes, and those of us that are old.
So how long have you lived up in Maine?
Just over 13 years.
13 years. Okay.
There's a lot of mystery writers up here.
Yeah, it's a mystery as to why they're living there, but it's beautiful there. I
it is to me.
It is beautiful, especially the part of Maine that you're in.
Yeah.
Oh, Joy Shelton York said, I am fascinated by tarot cards, but they scare me.
Yeah.
Oh, why? You afraid of the future? Is it the future or the cards? I mean, I had a deck that nobody liked. They thought it was gruesome.
I have a deck, and and I read, and it came with a book and everything, and I read the book, and it's just, I'm not afraid of them. It's just it confuses me. I said that already. Is that Kristen Lee Barringer said, is that the email I neglected to write down? Sorry. Multitasking and working. And she also says, I love Maine too. Okay. Joy says, yes, what they may say.
Uh-huh. Well, I don't really tell people's future. I tell them the influences that are around them, and then they can decide what to do about that.
Chris Chrisman said, I have several decks, but really only use my First Rider weight deck.
Yeah, that's the go-to.
Well, that's one of the more, that's a more popular one.
Yes. That's one everybody learns on. And it's over 100 years old. So
wow.
It's fairly easy to learn.
Wow, that's really awesome. Yeah. Over 100 years old. They've been.
But there are all kinds of variations of decks. There must be several hundred of them. There's like the Hobbit deck and stuff like that.
Yeah. Yeah.
I wonder if tarot cards have ever been used in like a trial, a murder trial or something, That's a good thing.
I've heard of lawsuits with psychics involved, but I don't think tarot cards were. But they're usually like, fraud. This person promised that she would cast a spell and make me rich and that kind of stuff. And so you end up in court.
You mean to help solve the crime?
Yeah, to help solve the crime.
Tarot
psychics.
That's interesting.
The police use psychics to find bodies and stuff,
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's interesting.
Well, I know that there's a tarot card reader on our channel, on the radio station that we're on. And the girl who does it had never met me. I don't think even knew that we were on the same radio station. I just stopped in to watch her show, and she read my cards over the internet, which was interesting. And I have to tell you, she was dead bang on. She didn't tell my future or anything. She just said things about who I am and what my personality is like, and kind of like what my calling is. And she hit the nail on the head. It was kind of startling. I was like, oh, all right. And one of the things she said that I was something I had been having trouble committing to fully and doing that. You know what I mean? It was like something I knew that I should probably be doing, but I really didn't want to do it. Wasn't.
Yeah.
And then she said, and this is what you should be doing. And I was like, oh, okay.
Yeah. Sometimes I give them advice as to what to do. I remember one time I did a spread that was, this person had walked out of the room, and I did this spread that was one of the worst spreads I had ever seen, and I freaked out.
Wow.
I am not proud of this, but she had walked out of the room, and I just gathered up the cards as fast as I could and shuffled them again and told her to ask a question that had nothing to do with her life or what was going on. And it turns out that about a week later, her husband flipped out and decided he was going to walk to Jerusalem, and he quit his job. And they had 2 kids, and he was the sole support. She had to go on welfare. So pretty much what I saw in that reading came true.
He decided to walk to
Jerusalem. Walk to Jerusalem.
Did he make it? Did you ever find out?
I don't think so. I don't think he ever got started.
I mean,
I don't think he got to the beach.
To walk on water to.
Right. I think that was the part of the deal. But it was like I was shocked.
No
I
kidding,
mean, that's something that you never want to happen. If you have a really bad reading and you're a reader, you try to handle it. But I wasn't going to handle that.
Sounds like he had a psychotic break.
Yeah, he went nuts.
Yeah, that's sad. Yeah. Well, that's why Joy said she's fascinated but scared. They scare her. She wouldn't want to. Yeah.
Well, it's something nobody saw coming. Nobody figured he was going to do this. So
how do you like being an author? Besides, and we know you're a tarot card reader, but how do you like writing?
Well, it's different. I mean, you've got to do a lot of publicity.
Yeah.
Nobody's ready for that. They think, if you write it, they will come. Right? We know better. You've got to do your own publicity, unless you're with Doubleday or Simon and Schuster or somebody. And even then,
we've had authors on from big publishers, New York Times bestsellers, and they have to do publicity too. All the time.
Yeah. So you might as well self-publish because you're doing all the work already.
Well, I think that the amount of money that they get paid by those publishers has something to do with why they go with them.
Yeah.
That and they get your books into the bookstores faster nationally, so.
Well, I did a direct mail campaign for that, and it worked pretty well for Scandal. And this was during COVID when they were like opening very limited, but it helped a lot.
So for this, a Scandal at Crystalline, you did a direct mail. So explain to people what you mean by you did a direct mail campaign.
Well, there's something called a sell sheet where you have the information about your book and blurbs and your bio and the picture of the cover and all the data on the book. And you send that. And I actually used snail mail because bookstores don't get that anymore. They probably get bombarded by email.
That is really clever.
Well, thank you.
That's clever.
So you mailed the information to the bookstores?
Yes, I used the mailing list of Sisters in Crime which is one of the mystery groups you can join.
Mm-hmm.
And I just sent the sell sheet out to all these bookstores. There were about 200 bookstores, and it worked pretty good.
Did you send a copy of the book as well, or just the?
No,
Just
I only gave a copy of the book to the local stores in Maine because
okay.
I could go there.
Yeah, there you
Right.
go. Right.
And did you do the same thing for your libraries?
Yes,
Yeah. Yeah, that's a good idea.
because you can get in for an author talk, give them
Yeah.
a book and say I'm available.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. I know that Rob's sister called us up one time and she said, my friend from Encino, California, called me today, and she said she'd gotten your book out of the library there. She said, how did you get into the library there?
Well, it's their choice what they do with it. I mean, I think 2 of them put it in the book sale. One of them put it on the shelf, and that means when they put it on the shelf, they catalog it, and that means it gets into the state catalog. But they had the description wrong. I had to call them up and tell them to correct it.
no.
Yeah, they had the main character in Scandal and Crystalline. They said he was murdered, and his sister wants to know who did it, so she hired early. Well, he wasn't murdered, and she didn't want to know who killed him because he wasn't murdered.
Oh,
Nobody knows if he was murdered. He could have been murdered, but we don't know. So,
Joe Conjal said, are your paperbacks through Ingram Spark?
you can get Scandal through Ingram. For some odd reason, my publisher did not put the Spiricom on Ingram. So the only place you can get the paperback is from Amazon.
For Spiricom.
Yeah, I was not happy about that, but there's not much I can do about it.
No, not if your publisher did it and you didn't.
Yes.
So
Yeah, it's only available on Amazon.
That's interesting. You would think that would be a big selling point, but however, as we all know, there's 50 million of us there on Amazon. So.
At least 50 million. At least.
So getting noticed is a little bit difficult.
Yes, that's true.
It's why you should do book signings at bookstores and libraries and
book
wherever
fairs.
else you can.
I think book signings are probably the best way to do it.
Yeah, fairs and George Dismukes likes doing restaurants.
Mm-hmm.
Restaurants, cool.
Restaurants with the bar.
Restaurants with the bar. We know we have other friends that do them at restaurants too.
Yeah.
Because people are relaxed and they've had a few drinks and they get to meet you and are more likely to buy your book.
Yeah, I did one in a theater, and lobbies are a good place to do them, but there was no lobby in this theater.
Oh,
it's a community theater, so I did it on the landing of the stairway.
Oh, well,
as long as there was room, And I did another one at the SPCA.
Oh, well, that was a good idea, though.
Yeah.
Anywhere where you have people coming in and out, lots of people.
Right.
Everybody reads, so.
Right.
Yeah, it gives the SPCA some advertisement too, which is a good thing.
Right.
Yeah.
Because you're publicizing that you're going to be there. So Joe Conjal says, but Ingram seems to be the best path to the bookstores.
Yeah, I'll agree with that. And I used to work for Baker and Taylor.
Really?
Yeah. So, but Ingram is like the gold standard.
Some bookstores too, even though they're part of, of a national bookstore, they have autonomy with who they can put on their shelves. And I know Target does. Their general store managers can request books to be put in there. So, chat up your local Target.
Right.
General manager.
Yeah, my book was even listed. Scandal was listed online at Walmart.
Yeah.
So they were
Well,
handling it.
Walmart's another good place, and also supermarkets too.
Yeah.
Supermarkets have those little, like Walmart does, that will have it throughout the. I mean, Walmart has an actual book section, but they also have those little end things that twirl around and you put books in there.
Yeah.
So, do you have any advice for new authors?
Stick with it. Be patient. Don't expect miracles.
Yeah.
Be prepared to work.
Don't think you're going to sell 1 million copies in the first year.
Yeah. It's really exciting when you get your first copy of your first book, in your hands, the physical copy.
Yeah, it's a thrill just for that. I mean, never mind sales. Just to look at the book, it's like, oh, great.
Yeah. And I remember I've got a lot of authors that I really enjoy reading, and one was Joe Conjal said, I think Walmart partners with Kobo. I think they do, Joe. I think that's right.
Yeah, I think you're right.
Ian McCaffrey was an author who wrote this series of book called The Dragon Riders of Pern. It was a science fiction fantasy series of books. And I always loved the blurb on the back of her book because it said, Ian McCaffrey lives in a castle in Ireland with her cats.
Yeah.
And she's an American, but she went to Ireland because, authors don't pay taxes in Ireland.
Right. Right.
So she was not only a good author, but she wasn't stupid. And I always thought, oh my gosh, that sounds so romantic, living in a castle and writing books. But you know what? I'm not living in a castle. I'm not living in Ireland. And I don't have any cats.
Castles are cold and drafty.
And expensive.
Oh my gosh, yes.
And you know what? Anne McCaffrey's son used to rent an apartment in my house.
Okay.
Well, he took over. He took over her books when she passed away. Then I think it might be her daughter, or it might be her granddaughter that's now writing the series. And now it's pretty good. That series is pretty good.
Cool.
That's so interesting, though. I don't know. I don't think she had more than one son, so that must have been the same son. But he did. Yeah. When she passed away, he started writing. He took up the characters, the whole Pern story. Have you read those books?
No, I never read any of her books, but he used to talk about her. And funny thing was, he was like a Civil War reenactor, so he was into history.
Oh yeah. Well, I really enjoyed those books. They were really. And she was ahead of her time in her thinking. And so I really enjoyed the way that she wrote her books. But there are a lot of authors I like, as I said.
That's for sure. Well, it's been great having you on the show tonight.
Yes.
Thank you for having me. This was terrific.
Yeah, it was fun.
We're kind of running low on time now, so
sorry
about the bumpy start.
Sorry about the rough beginning there.
Oh, well, that's life. Just like writing.
Joe Conjal said, great show as always. Thank you, Roslyn.
Oh, yeah, Joe, I'll see you later.
And Chris Chrisman says, thanks for another great show. Thank you. Paul Hollis said, awesome show. Thanks, everyone. Thank you, everybody, for tuning in and listening.
Thank you.
All right, we're going to move you over to the side there. And we'll see you. Yeah. Hold on. I should have told you to hold on. I'm sorry. You could have fastened your seatbelt.
Joyce Shelton York said, another great show. Thank you, Joy.
Okay, we want to make sure everybody tunes in tomorrow night for the Haunted Campfire Tales. That's Thursday the 23rd at 7:30 p.m. Facebook, Tampa Bay Spirits group page, Meet the Author page on Facebook as well, and YouTube, Meet the Author podcast channel. And for more information, you can get it at tampabayspirits1.com, number 1.com.
Kirsten Lee Barger said thanks. Thanks you.
Thanks for joining us.
Thanks for
Kirsten.
joining us, Kirsten. I hope you pop in again.
Yeah. Next week, it's Michael Scott Clifton. He writes fantasy, paranormal, sci-fi, adventure, and romance all in one.
Wow.
Well, mostly. He's got quite a few books. And that'll be Wednesday, March 1st. March 1st already.
Yeah.
And
I think Roslyn's are kind of that too.
Yeah. Yeah.
All of those things in one.
That's true.
Yeah.
Okay. So we're going to have another exciting show.
Yeah.
March coming up. Of course, Michael Scott Clifton on the 1st. On the 8th, Paul Rushworth Brown, Australian author. That's a pre-record on the 8th. And then on the 15th, we're going to have our 100th episode celebration. We're going to have 5 guests, 100 episodes. Mm-hmm. That's amazing. Anyway, Marjorie Deering, Tori Gates, Jamil Effend, Genaro Torres, and Doug Gardam are going to be our guests that evening. We're going to have lots of giveaways and stuff, so be sure to tune in.
It's going to be fun. And all 5 of those authors were great when they were on the first time, and this will be great.
And then on the 22nd, Joseph Caribas, and on the 29th, none other than Brakefield and Berkey will be back. Our friends Brakefield and Berkey.
With their second Magnolia Bluff Chronicle book.
Yeah, for sure. Okay, and their Enigma series continuing as well.
Their Enigma series, which has never stopped yet.
So make sure you tune in right after the show for the Voice of Indie podcast, Blog Talk Radio. And we're going to show you a little instruction thing on a commercial on how to get over to that right now as we sign out. And in the meantime, let's see, I guess, if I can find it. Okay. Until next time.
That's all, folks.
Good night.
Live every Wednesday, your Voice of Indie hosts Beam Weeks and Stephen Gees welcome authors, musicians, publishing industry pros, artists, and assorted creative guests for an exciting interactive hour. Call in during the show or post questions and comments on Twitter for responses in real time. Meet your favorite indie creators, learn inside tips, network, and promote your work. The link for each week's show is pinned on Twitter atop @VoiceOfIndie. And you can receive the link every Wednesday morning in your inbox by subscribing to our newsletter at freshinkgroup.com. Check out Voice of Indie every Wednesday on Blog Talk Radio and catch hundreds of episodes archived everywhere from our websites to our YouTube channel and Spotify.
Thank you for joining us here on Meet the Author. Make sure you stay up to date with our show by clicking like, follow, and share. And you can find us on Spotify, iTunes, and more. See you next time.